Guys, Luigi here. In this video, we're going to talk about colors and specifically the importance of choosing the right color palette for the project whenever you're creating a website or UI UX design project. Now, starting from the basics, I do believe that each and every designer should study the basics of colors. So you should have a strong grasp when it comes to things like primary, secondary, tertiary colors, the harmonies, and basically all of the basics of the color theory, because it's going to help you a lot in dictating and making those decisions as to where to use one color or the other. Because even when we look at an example like this one, and by the way, this is from a UI kit called Sarga, which you can find, I believe it's on UI8, really beautiful. And I just wanted to give it a shout out before we dive right into it. And as you can see, for example, here we have this landing page for a time tracker, work tracker, something around those lines. And utilizing a color like blue is going to give a sense of trust and stability. I also like the fact that they're mixing with yellow, and these are primary colors. Now, what happens when you mix primary colors together is you essentially create a lot of visual tension and emphasis. So you can see how these colors work together in a way where there's a lot of visual emphasis, and you can actually notice a lot of supermarket brands, at least here in Europe, they tend to use primary colors together in their logos. And the reason being is that they really stand out. I mean, even think about um, companies such as IKEA. Do you have the blue, which is the base for the text and the outer shape, and then inside you have the yellow. And this combination really stands out. However, if I go ahead and, for example, create a tone of this blue right here, and by the way, I happen to have selected the wrong layer. We're using a mask. So if we go ahead and change this to say a lighter tint of this color, so creating a lighter shade, you can see how this is going to have a different visual impact compared to what we had originally. So all of these micro decisions can have quite a big impact, and if you consider that on a landing page, the hero section, which is this very top section, is going to essentially make or break the time that a user spends on the website, because usually it's a very short amount of time in which a user decides to either stay on the website or move to another website. All of these micro adjustments can really have a big impact. And of course, we're not talking just about the color. We're talking about the headline, the communication that is going on, how professional this website looks. If it looks like a website from the 90s, it's immediately going to communicate that the website or that the company in and of itself is not really investing in technology. So you can actually have a bad effect just from that alone. But looping back to the color theory, you can actually notice that how colors can have a big impact. And even if I change this tone slightly, you can see how this, like, even though we're still keeping the same communication, we're still keeping the same illustrations and content, just the entire website looks off. And the reason being is we're not utilizing those principles. Now, sometimes changing a shade very, very slightly is not going to have a big impact, but you need to keep all of these principles in mind. And that is one of the reasons why I mentioned at the very beginning of the video how important it is to understand color theory from a high level. And I don't really necessarily stress on having to make each and every color decisions in your project in a extremely scientific way, because some of it is going to come down to these basic principles of color theory, but other times it's just going to be based on the context and how you feel that it's going to be the best way to react to the target market. So that is one of the reasons why we're always using color strategically. Even if we go over here, for example, and we change these elements from tags with this very light fill to this fill, which is definitely stronger in color, we make it 100%, you can see that also the visual balance of this section is going to change, since this element is going to take up more visual emphasis, and it might be a good thing. Maybe we really want to emphasize that these elements are active. So we might want to go with something around these lines. If this is very important, you can actually go ahead and do that. And you can also notice how sometimes utilizing the full hue is going to be overwhelming. So toning it down just a little bit, you can either make it um, darker over here, but one other way that you can approach it is you can actually desaturate the color just a little bit. And you can see how you can start having those more subtle effects, which you're going to notice in a lot of UIs on Dribbble, Behance, and whatnot. So these are just some of the considerations that we need to do. And then we have an entire video that we need to dedicate to color integrating in the design system, because whenever you're looking and selecting a color, it needs to have a level of consistency within your entire project, and that is where design systems really come into play, so that you can basically create and merge a division all together. So that's the main core concepts. I'm curious to hear your opinion, and what are you looking to learn about color in UI UX design, since it's such a big topic. And I'm curious to hear from you what is any questions that you have, or any items that you'd like me to tackle in a future video. And if you enjoyed this, I actually have over 900 videos on my YouTube channel entirely for free. So feel free to check them out, where I share my decade of experience in the field. And I'll see you in the very next video.